Please state your name.
Branislav Hošek.
Please state what organization you work for and your position within that establishment.
I work for Deutsche Telekom, and I work as a senior expert of group performance development.
Please place your left hand on this book, The Vital Leader, by Andrew Lee and Michael Maynard. You must now dedicate your commitment to the truth by reading out aloud this oath.
I promise by Almighty Telecom to give the clearest evidence I can without interference or loss of signal. We are not BT, so this should work. So, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, Your Honor. I have to say this is the pleasantest appearance before judge in my life so far. I would like to use this opportunity to share a couple of ideas which I believe can help us all unleash the potential which lays within the talents of our organizations. Now, at the beginning, I would like to set some groundwork first. I think we all can concur that talent management has been on the top of priority list for HR for quite a while now. What I can also see recently is that not only HR, also business starts to pay attention to talent management. So not only CHROs, but also CEOs are interested in the topic. And I think we can also agree that we invest a hell of a lot of energy into talent management. We fight for talent on the job market. We strive to identify talents from within our organization. Once we find them, we spend a lot of money developing them, and Maynard is a good example of this. And overall, we invest a lot of energy into talent management. But when we ask ourselves if the return of investment is what we would expect, or in the worst case, if our CEO asks us, okay, what kind of added value our talents bring to the organization, can we give a satisfactory answer? We are talking about talents here. For our organization, these should be the drivers of innovation. These should be the hubs for creativity, should be the role models of collaboration, beacons of engagement. And is it really so? Now, being in England, I allow myself one football metaphor. Do we have Steven Gerrard or Mario Balotellis in our organization? If you need further explanation, I can elaborate offline on this more. But in general, what's happening is we are striving to get the added value we would expect from our talents. And this whole is happening at the time where knowledge is more accessible than ever before, and where communication and information exchange is virtually limitless, also thanks to us. So why is that? Now, what I believe is happening is that we have fallen into our own trap a little bit. We have fallen into the trap of over-communicating. Now, bear with me before you start throwing shoes or mobile phones at me. I'll try to explain. Now, communication in its distilled meaning is only exchange of information. And it's not what made mankind unique. It's not what gave us the edge. Other species can communicate and communicate quite effectively. Not only communicate, also collaborate. Yeah? You take insects, you take bees, they do their little dance to show other bees which direction the sweetest flower is. You take ants and their collaboration. So it's not what gave mankind its edge. Now, what made the difference for us is what Stephen Hawking, one of the smartest minds of our time, said when he said, for millions of years, mankind lived just like the animals. But then something happened which unleashed the power of our imagination, and we begin to talk. Now, in this respect, talking is much more than just exchanging information. It is about sharing ideas, sharing imagination, aspirations, or vision. And this is what made mankind unique, and what it is today in a positive sense. So why is it that our talents, and sometimes also our whole organization, is falling into the trap of over-communicating? Now, first of all, there is a clear information overload. And it's also easier, actually, only to communicate rather than to talk, because you're just handing over pieces of information. You are on a safe side. If you are not understood, then you are not the idiot. It's the one who doesn't understand a simple information. Whereas if you talk to somebody and you express your vision or your imagination and you are not being understood, then you are the phony. People look at you, okay, what does he mean? I don't get it. This goes hand in hand with a challenge for talents and leaders as well. Because if you do this more time, if you fail to be understood, you are afraid to lose credibility in the organization. And I can tell you, I've been working in Germany for almost 5 years now. For a lot of leaders in Germany, the fear of losing credibility or respect in the organization is bigger than a fear of personal in flagranti X-rated photos being leaked on the internet. So I've seen it, not the photos, but I've seen this happening. I have seen leaders holding back their vision and ideas just because of the fear of being misunderstood. To be a little bit more scientific and talking about now a global environment, if you have talents in your organization who are working in a foreign language and they are not 100% fluent in this language, and even if they are, a certain amount of their cognitive capability of their brain is just simply taken out and used up by the struggle to produce comprehensive sentences in the foreign language. Imagine that you have talents who are really good in their expertise, but they just cannot pull it off. They cannot share what they mean. They can share pieces of information because that's quite easy, but if you go to the more creative level, this is a problem. Now, good news is the fluenter or the more competent you get in the foreign language, the more cognitive capacity is there left for your creative thinking. The bad news is a lot of the times we have talents who just reach a certain level of foreign language and just say, okay, I can order my Big Mac in a drive-in, I can present my results using 23 detailed PowerPoint slides, but they just do not step over this limit and they do not work further on their language. So they then more or less limit themselves forever and do not pull over the creative capability they have. Now, the good news is there is a best practice from the past which proved to be very efficient to overcome this fear and to unleash creative potential and imagination of talent. So I brought a visual example. It comes in several forms, so not only liquid. And I think we can all as well agree that it has produced some outstanding results. But it has a downside. So as liberal as I am in my approach, I do not recommend you use this in your organization, maybe apart from the creative potential before karaoke during team building. What I believe we have to do, and I will tell you what I did in Deutsche Telekom. Now, when I took over my responsibility for leadership development, for developing young leadership talents and expert talents, future generation of our leaders of Deutsche Telekom, 5 years ago, the portfolio of development consisted of topics like presentation skills, negotiation skills, project management, and very high profile at the time, change management. So all things which go in the direction of communication. So how do you manage the overflow, how you express the information, very, very pragmatic things. And this is not moving us forward. Maybe this was enough at the time of an industrial revolution, but not today. So what I did was I threw these things out. I either made them e-learnings or just said, okay, we don't need this anymore. People can read Harvard Business Review to get a best practice on collaboration. And I introduced topics which go much more in a direction of idea sharing, of creativity, of vision and talking among each other. I introduced topics like vital leadership from Maynard Lay, topics like dramatic shift, which more or less took our executives, so leaders who are already on a certain level of seniority, really back to basics. How can you express what you mean? How can you express what you feel? And how can you share it with others? And this was 4 years ago. We received couple of weeks ago a result of a customer or employee satisfaction survey. And even though the demand and workload is very, very high and employees express that, they also express that they are more engaged than ever and they are more happy to work for our organization than ever before. And I believe this has something to do with the shift we did 4 years ago, because our middle and lower management, the NCOs of our organization now understood it's important to share the vision of the company, not only the hard strategic goals, but also what is behind. Why do we actually do it? What is our goal? And this helped create an increased engagement in the organization and in general support creativity and idea sharing, not only in units which are assigned to innovation, but overall in the organization. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hazel.